Escape from New York. The trailer is in the description if you don't know anything about this movie. It's a John Carpenter film made in 1981. Um, a, a lot of my desire for this retrospective was to kind of see the culture of these time periods that have passed me by all these years and hopefully get a little nostalgia out of that. So, period pieces and science fiction films and all that were not really my primary movies that I wanted to watch. But this I had to watch because I've heard about it my whole life. And I feel like over the years of watching movies, my instincts about what would be a movie I would like and what I wouldn't are pretty sharp. And there have been rare exceptions during the course of the retrospective. I've watched over 100 movies in it, and I'd say 90% of them were about what I expected. There were a couple surprised me. This was not one of them. John Carpenter does not have a refined imagination. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, some people have the capacity to get a good idea and press it further and make it a great idea. Good example is Christopher Nolan's Inception. The whole idea of going into someone's, this is Inception I'm talking about, going into someone's mind to extract a dream. So in the movie where they could go into someone's mind during a dream, and in the dream, the theory was that if you had a safe, that meant you were protecting a secret, and they can go extract the secret from the safe and then get this information from you through your dreams. That by itself is an interesting idea, right? It's a good idea. But he always presses it a little further. So he came up with the idea of an inception, and that was putting an idea into someone's dream and then making them play that out in the real world. Really, really interesting. That's a refined imagination. John Carpenter doesn't have that. Now, I want to say, first off, that I don't think my desire to see a movie because I like to think is inherently superior to anyone else's desire to see a movie. And it is no reflection on intelligence or anything like that. Some people just would prefer to be entertained. They don't want to think when they watch a movie. And I get it. It doesn't make someone a dull or a loser or anything just because they don't want to watch something that makes them think. I just personally like that. That's why I like Nolan's movies. He operates at many levels. Carpenter's for the people that really want to just kind of see an imaginative, and I'm not saying he doesn't have an imagination. He absolutely does. It's just they want to see an imaginative idea with some action and some story. He gives you that. If that's what you like, you probably love this movie. Myself, it doesn't do it for me at all. I want a great story that makes me think and maybe even challenges my ideas. I'm pretty set in my ways in many ways, but I still like to think. I like my ideas to be challenged. This movie was filmed on Staten Island in a post-apocalyptic combat zone. Essentially, the idea was, well, obviously it wasn't filmed in a post-apocalyptic combat zone. That's Chicago. No, but Staten Island was used because it was a very small, you could just tell this was a small location they could make look futuristic. Even by 80s standards, that's a big fail. It doesn't look futuristic. And then there's this idea in the movie that crime has risen 400%. Okay, if you're going to start a movie with the statement, crime has risen 400%, you might want to ask the question, well, is it because there's been an increase in laws or an increase in lawlessness? And it doesn't bother expressing why this happened. It's just 400% increase. Okay. It may have. It's been a little while. I kind of read my reviews that I wrote and see what that, let that jar my memory because I'm not rewatching the movie and I watched it a while ago. So just to be totally honest, it may have covered some of that or maybe I missed it. But I just thought, I remember going, what's this increase from? And then, so if you've ever seen the Mad Max movies, there's Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. the concept of that is really, it's a bad movie, but the concept's really cool, right? I mean, it's this little society that operates around this justice of this arena. But the idea of like this post apocalyptic arena thing gets old really fast. And I've just spent a lot of time around science fiction and fantasy. And the last thing I want to see, honestly, is arena combat. I just think it's boring and annoying. That's kind of my phrase if I don't like a movie or a work of art. I'll say boring and annoying. And that would probably be my conclusion with the ideas in this movie. Boring and annoying. Why? It's sort of like when I was a kid, I used to watch G.I. Joe, the cartoon. And there was an episode where they were in training. And I thought to myself, please don't have the enemy fight, like do a sneak attack while they're in training. It's such a bad idea. And I was just a little kid. And sure enough, the enemy attacks while they're in training. And I just thought, it's just only word I can use is contrived. And that's the way I see. And so, sure enough, just to kind of display how heroic our main hero is, he gets thrown into an arena. Just as like, right, because it's the post-apocalypse and that's how you settle everything, is in an arena. I don't know. Why I give Beyond Thunderdome a pass is I guess because it had some social structure built around it, so it was actually kind of interesting, even though that is not a good movie, just to be honest with you. I won't be reviewing the retrospective because I've already seen it. But unless you really love the Mad Max storyline, stay away from that movie. But anyway, so my conclusion on Escape from New York is this. If you are watching all of John Carpenter's movies for some reason, you just really like his movies, and this offends you, I really apologize, because I have certain directors I like, and I like some of the movies just because I like that director. And other people don't like some of those movies. And I get it. I'm like, yeah. I don't think everything John Carpenter makes is bad. I just think I've just heard my whole life how good this movie is. And it's just not. And I've always known it wasn't going to be. And that's kind of where I am with this. It's just, again, it's just an entertaining action movie. And because it's entertaining, I had to give it 2 stars at least. But if you're someone like me, you just want the thought-provoking, complex story that really gets the mind churning, this is not for you. I would highly recommend staying away from this in that case. But it has all the hallmarks of a John Carpenter film. And if you're a John Carpenter fan and you haven't seen this one, you actually have to see it. Because it really, I could not have known it was John Carpenter film, and I would have known it. I would be like, yeah, he made this movie. And I mean, it's a classic staple of his in that sense. And if you like that, this is right up your alley. 2 stars.